Welcome back, anime lovers, to another exciting installment of What If Deku Opened a Cafe and Got a Harem on Anime Stark. In Part 4, the adventure continues as we dive deeper into the world of our favorite hero turned barista. Get ready for more drama, laughter, and romance. You won't want to miss a second of this thrilling journey. The first day without his helper was really terrible, and it felt like a punishment to continue like this. There was nothing to do but endure until his friend returned to work. Even Gietta seemed upset because he missed his daily cuddles. He meowed with some desperation and couldn't sleep peacefully. It was clear what was bothering him. Izuku, ready to go, Gietta? The cat just stared out of the window. Come on, Mr. Grumpy, they'll be back in a week, and you'll enjoy some good cuddles again. But the cat didn't pay any attention. Let's go, Gietta, Mom is waiting. He picked up the little cat, and they left the place. Tomorrow will be another day. He stroked his grumpy cat's head, who was still angry. Izuku, you're very naughty, Gietta, he murmured, a bit hurt by the cat's behavior. His way home hardly ever changed, depending on whether his mom was cooking or not. In those cases, he usually passed by a nearby hamburger stand and got something for both of them if he was completely tired. Or if he felt like cooking, he'd buy some ingredients before going home. But generally, he went straight home. He took a not-so-crowded train and got off at the second station before walking home, sometimes leaving leftovers at a nearby shelter for animals in need. Today he was going to cook, and despite the tense day he had, he seemed quite cheerful and eager to do things. He was going to make something special to cheer up his cat, and for that, he needed fish and many other things. Izuku, I'm lucky today, there were a lot of spices. He happily carried some bags in his hands as he headed home. But a sound caught his attention in a nearby alley close to his home. Meow. The cat showed its head in some tension, which the freckled boy noticed. Izuku, calm down, Gietta. He gently petted the cat, who kept looking into the dark alley. I'm not irrational enough to go into a dark alley. He held the bags with one hand, took out his phone from his pocket, and turned on the flashlight, looking at trash cans and a presumably injured girl on the ground. Oh my goodness. He left his bags aside and approached to help her. He took precautions, even though he had a wounded girl. Maybe it was because he watched too many movies, but a part of him was on alert in case the girl suddenly woke up and attacked him. He was prepared for it, even if it didn't seem like it. A girl dressed like a schoolgirl, with dirty and somewhat disheveled hair and two bows in very bad condition. Her delicate face was quite injured, and her clothes were dirty. He couldn't see her arms because of the jacket she was wearing, but he could tell how bad the girl was. His feline companion came out of his comfortable spot and started to sniff the girl, hissing a bit and appearing more puffed up than usual. Izuku, are you scared too? The cat didn't take its eyes off the girl. She's in pretty bad shape from what I can see. I'll take her home, so calm down, okay? The cat was very tense. All right. He took some cat treats from his pocket and put them near his cat, who seemed to relax. Meow. The cat ate a treat, and the green-haired boy took the opportunity to put him back in his jacket. Izuku, okay, now to take you along with the groceries. He carried the unconscious girl, his bags, and went home. She's surprisingly lighter than I thought. She hardly weighed anything, which worried me a lot. It could indicate malnutrition. Climbing the stairs with a sleeping and badly beaten girl should have raised alarms with the neighbors. It was like a horror movie about to happen. Fortunately, the one holding the girl was no stranger. Izuku was the most innocent and pure being in the world, as assumed by the few neighbors who saw the boy. They thought he was just helping someone. Inko, Izuku? She looked at her son with someone in his arms. What's going on? Izuku, I found this girl in an alley. After saying that, the cat came out of the boy's jacket and ran to the boy's room. She looks quite injured. Inko, let me take care of her. The green-haired boy nodded, placing her on the couch and letting his mother work her magic. Izuku, I'll make something to eat while you check on her. He left his mother to go to the kitchen. It was good that Inko had been a good nurse in her time, taking care of her son's every little injury when he was a child. She was quite familiar with these cases. The most important thing in such situations was to assess the extent of the injuries, and fortunately, it didn't seem too serious. Scratches and many cuts, badly healed wounds on her wrists, someone had held her captive for a long time, as he could tell. She was almost skin and bones from what he could see. Looking at her back horrified him. Someone had clearly enjoyed torturing the girl. He went to his room, took the largest first aid kit he had, and went to tend to the girl. Judging by her dark circles, it was clear she hadn't slept in a couple of days, so he hoped she wouldn't wake up soon. Izuku, how do you see her? His mother applied another bandage to the girl's shoulder and sighed, feeling calmer. Inko, what happened to her is extremely terrible. She received a cup of tea from her son to calm her nerves. But I think I know why this happened, or at least have a clue. Izuku, is there something on her clothes or body? His mother shook her head. Inko, look. She opened the girl's mouth, revealing her fangs. Izuku, a quirk related to fangs. Some brutal transformation, vampirism, something animal related that makes her very dangerous? His mother smiled at him. Without a doubt, her child was a genius when it came to quirks. Inko, maybe her family isn't the best in the world, or she was abducted and ended up like this. What I can say is that what happened was terrible. She had put an old pajama of hers on the girl and covered her with a sheet that her son no longer used. But what I do know is that she'll need a lot of food when she wakes up. Izuku, should we call the police? His mother shook her head. Inko, we'll talk to her when she wakes up, and then we'll take her to a hospital. You can call the police there. Her son nodded with seriousness. Izuku, poor girl. She didn't look peaceful while sleeping, clearly tormented by something. Inko, I don't know what happened, but you did a good job, Izuku. She caressed her son's cheek, and he smiled at her. She didn't know where she was or what happened after she fell unconscious following the incident. She honestly expected to be in a dumpster or an abandoned place, waiting to die after the brutal night she had to endure. She genuinely believed that the guy was a total hunk in every aspect. He seemed like a good guy, the kindest she had ever seen, the most innocent, and the heartthrob of a forgettable academy, whose name probably wasn't even known by its creator. He was a blonde guy with exotic gray eyes, a big smile that made all the girls sigh, the leader of the swimming club, a part of the student council, and very flirtatious with every girl he met, including Himiko Toga. She had infiltrated that academy thanks to a very cute but seemingly unimportant girl. In fact, the girl was criticized a lot and harassed too. Toga simply appeared to be herself, as she had done in the past. She hoped to keep living as someone she loved until they discovered her and moved on to someone else. That was when she met that dream guy. She didn't know how, but he had found out about her and quickly ensnared her in his web of love. He treated her like a queen for a couple of days before showing his true colors. Toga had developed a sixth sense after using other people's faces for so long. It told her when she was in danger or when someone wanted to get rid of her. And of course, the guy demonstrated that, so she prepared to kill him and take on his identity. However, instead of trying to get rid of her, the guy wanted some rough action. The darn madman drugged her and kept her tied to a bed. The room wasn't his, but rather, it looked like something from an adult book, with hundreds of tools for torture and, most importantly, a bunch of photos of girls suffering and being used in horrifying ways. He messed with the wrong person, that was clear. It took a while to get out. That guy gave her a lot of trouble, mainly because he talked about creating his own harem of submissive and desperate girls, and with Toga, he'd complete his collection. Of course, she had to confront him, which ended pretty badly. The guy ended up embedded in what he took the most pride in, his number one weapon for creating those pleasure girls. She ended up very exhausted, injured, and not knowing where she was. She roamed the streets until she fell asleep somewhere unknown. She didn't realize when that darn guy injected her with a sleeping drug. She thought she was going to die, and she honestly didn't like that idea. She wanted a better life. Inko, oh, you're finally awake. To her surprise, a plump and adorable woman entered the room with a tray of soup. I'm surprised you woke up after being so wounded. Himiko, I have a high pain tolerance. She muttered, feeling somewhat weak. Inko, here, this will help you get better. She placed the soup in front of the girl, who looked at the dish attentively. I suppose you don't have enough strength to eat on your own. She lifted the spoon, and the girl ate. Himiko, thank you very much. She spoke after eating. Inko, it's nothing, dear. The girl still seemed quite lost. Do you have any idea of what happened to you? The girl looked at the adorable woman and then at the soup. Himiko, it's confusing, but I remember feeling both fear and excitement with that guy. She was getting nervous very quickly. Inko, hey, calm down. The woman caressed her, and she instantly began to breathe more calmly. It's over now. You won't be harmed. The girl still seemed somewhat agitated. Himiko, how did you find me? The woman smiled sweetly, calming the blonde. Inko, my son found you in a dumpster near our home. We gave you first aid and brought you here. We were afraid you wouldn't make it. The girl looked at her with pleasant surprise. Himiko, it. She was getting very nervous. Inko, hey, calm down. The woman continued to comfort her. It's over. They won't hurt you. The girl remained somewhat agitated. Himiko, does this mean? The woman smiled sweetly, calming the blonde. Inko, my son found you in a dumpster near our home. We gave you first aid and brought you here. We were afraid you wouldn't make it. The girl looked at her with pleasant surprise. Himiko, it. She was getting very nervous. Inko, hey, calm down. The woman continued to comfort her. It's over. They won't hurt you. The girl remained somewhat agitated. Himiko, does this mean? Inko, Saiji, can you help her with the food? A nurse friend of hers informed. Inko, Saiji, can you help her with the food? The nurse nodded with a very kind smile. Thank you very much. She left both of them alone. Upon exiting, she didn't expect to find her son with a serious expression in front of a police officer with a cat-like face and what appeared to be an old-school detective. Something was brewing between them, and from what she could tell, it wasn't good. Inko, what's going on here? Her son approached, followed by the two officers. Izuku, these gentlemen say that the girl is a serial killer. His mother was surprised by this. Naomasa, let me explain, Mrs. Midoriya. The detective spoke. To begin with, allow me to introduce myself. I am Detective Tsukuchi Naomasa, and this is my partner, Sanza. The girl you saved is Himiko Toga, accused of murder and identity theft. Inko, she impersonates people? The detective nodded. Naomasa, as I was telling your son, she has been accused of stealing the identities of people in a fairly wide age range. We've been looking for her for months. The green-haired woman looked at him with surprise. Izuku, honestly, I don't know what to believe about that. He had doubts about many things they were telling him, and it had become a habit. Naomasa, I understand your doubts, but the truth is that she's a dangerous girl, and now that she's here, we must. The older Midoriya woman stopped the detective from continuing his talk. Inko, I don't think she's really like that. She sounded quite confident to the surprise of the three present. Sanza, we have evidence, Mrs. Midoriya. What she did, if you like, we can. Inko, I don't care about that. What I mean is that I don't think she's like that for real. Both agents looked at each other in confusion. Izuku, if that's the case, the psychological damage could be so extensive that she's broken, so to speak. He obviously didn't want such a wounded girl to go to prison. And if they run psychological tests to determine it? Naomasa, do you support your mother in this? The green-haired boy nodded. Izuku, she has poorly healed wounds on her back, and her wrists had both recent and old damage. The girl has been through a lot, sir, and I think there's more to the story. Naomasa, very well, we'll conduct the tests and monitor her family. He thought for a moment, trying to make sense of it. We'll get a psychologist as soon as possible, and until then, we'll keep her under surveillance. The Midoriyas nodded in agreement. Without a doubt, this family was truly disgusting. It wasn't just their daughter, the parents were also quite awful. You could tell where that murderous tendency came from. Following Himiko Toga's trail, they arrived at her home. The place seemed to have been ransacked, with the closets completely empty and the kitchen clean. Overall, if it were just a casual visit, the house didn't seem out of the ordinary until you searched a bit and found the stairs leading to the basement. The walls were covered with writings about the demon girl and the monster she was. It was a dimly lit room that attempted to be comforting but ended up feeling quite the opposite, with its sinister, twisty drawings trying to be pleasant but achieving the opposite effect. There was a desk with only one notebook left, everything else was destroyed, evidently an attempt to ensure that what happened there would never be known. The notebook was written in crayon, and it seemed to be Himiko who was writing. It was apparent that she didn't quite understand what was happening or why her parents had confined her to the basement. However, she vaguely understood that she had done something wrong to end up there. The evidence was clear to the Midoriyas. All that was left was a visit to the psychologist, and they could take the girl to a good place, or so they hoped. Sanza asked her friend who was waiting at the doctor's office door, "Do you think the parents were to blame?" Naomasa replied, undetermined. They might have been part of the problem, but not the ones who ultimately broke her, as the evidence suggested. Sanza muttered to himself, "This case is more complicated than I thought," just as the doctor came out. Naomasa asked, adjusting his glasses with great seriousness, "So, Doc?" The man sought the right words to say, "I still need to see more, but from what I can gather, the girl is mentally unstable. I can't say if it's because of her quirk, someone related to her who might have put her through something traumatic at some point, or if she was just born this way. It's hard to say, he concluded. Now Masa inquired, so she's mentally unstable. Any violent tendencies you observed? The doctor shook his head. She claims to feel happy having people around. She has an obsession not just with blood but also with people. It seems the girl desperately seeks people to love to the point of wanting to literally become them. Both policemen exchanged looks. The girl is a rather special case, and from what I can tell and what I've seen, she acts quite normal as long as she's not separated from what she loves. Sansa asked, "What do you recommend, doctor?" The man pondered for a few seconds. "We can prescribe things to calm her down and prevent any danger, but to be completely honest, the girl needs more than just being medicated 24/7. She needs something more to occupy her mind." Now Masa questioned, "Do you think she's dangerous to society?" The man nodded without hesitation. "In her current state, it's likely that if she's left without much control, bad things will happen. The girl is a walking danger, and I believe she's quite aware of it," he concluded and left. 1. Sansa pondered, "So, what do we do now?" The detective thought as rationally as possible. She's still delicate. We'll keep her under surveillance and wait for her to recover. The judge will decide what to do with her. They stood there, waiting for their replacements for the afternoon. Sansa questioned, "The Midoriyas won't like this, will they?" The detective genuinely didn't know what to think. They seemed quite reasonable, so I suppose they'll understand, or at least that's what he hoped. It took another day to arrange everything for the girl's surveillance, and they called the two green-haired individuals to inquire about the girl and her uncertain fate. It was quite likely that they wouldn't see her again as she was to be indefinitely placed in a psychiatric facility or, conversely, sent to Tartarus. Truly, this case couldn't predict where the girl would end up. Inko inquired, "So she's..." The detective nodded. "She'll be taken to court when possible and, in the meantime, she'll remain under our surveillance and control. It's the only thing we can do, Mrs. Midoriya." The green-haired woman lowered her gaze. Inko understood, "I see. Thank you for your work, detective. Can we go in to see her?" The detective looked at his partner, who averted his gaze. "Go ahead," he said, opening the door for the mother and son to enter the girl's room, where she was eating a bowl of cereal. Inko greeted, "Himiko-chan." The green-haired woman greeted the girl, who lit up at her sight. Himiko noticed the boy beside the woman and found him adorable, though she felt like something was missing, a bit more. 5. Inko introduced, "This is my son, Izuku." The green-haired boy greeted from a distance, "I'm glad you're doing better. When I found you, you were in a bad state." He was as friendly as his mother. Himiko thank you for saving me, she managed to say with a smile. She wasn't sure what they had given her, but it kept her relaxed, with minimal thoughts that were normal for her. Izuku assured, "It was nothing. I couldn't leave you there like that." He looked down, and the girl sensed some annoyance and pity. "I'm glad to see you better." Himiko expressed her gratitude. "Thank you." She wanted to say more, but the words wouldn't come. Inko spoke, "Listen, Himiko." Her sixth sense activated, and she tensed up. She wanted to attack, but she didn't have the strength. "You'll be with the police for a long time. I don't know what you've been through, but I truly hope you get better." She smiled at the girl, and for the first time, her sixth sense didn't signal danger. Izuku added, "If you ever get to leave, come visit us. We'll be happy to see you again." He smiled at the blonde, who felt peculiar. Himiko asked, "You don't want to stay away from me?" The freckled boy looked at her, surprised, and then at his mom. Izuku reassured, "Of course not. You might have done some really bad things, and the world might see you as a monster or a demon, but I think you can be more." The girl looked surprised before genuinely smiling. Himiko thank you very much. She wanted to cry, but she was tired, and no tears came out. Inko affirmed, "We believe in second chances, Himiko-chan, and you can have one." The girl nodded, still smiling. The news was buzzing with the capture of the hero killer, Stain. It was truly incredible that Endeavor accomplished this feat, which was probably not easy and required a lot of effort on his part. The main concern was whether Endeavor had taken Shoto with him. In that case, there was worry about whether the boy was okay, or if he had suffered any injuries or problems. Just the thought of it was scary. Fuyumi asked, "Is this the place?" The green-haired boy was distracted from watching TV, looking at the one who had been causing his concern, along with two others. Shoto replied, "Yes, this is it." He honestly wanted a break after what had happened the day before, and what better place than a cafe. Izuku greeted, "Todoroki-san, I'm glad to see you well." He looked just as cool and patient as the last time they had spoken. "And you come with company. Who are they?" Shoto wondered, why wouldn't it be okay? He walked to the nearest table by the bar and sat down with his siblings. Izuku asked, you were involved in the stain case, right? The boy nodded. I thought something had happened to you. I was worried without any news from you or anyone. Shoto replied, I thought you had Jiro-san and Uraka's numbers. The green-haired boy sighed. Izuku explained, they are busy, and Kyoka-san only asks for cookies and how much milkshake I will give her when she returns. It seems like they forgot about the other two. But that's not the point here. Won't you introduce your companions? Shoto introduced, this is my brother, Natsuo, and she is my sister, Fuyumi. His siblings simply waved from a distance. Izuku introduced himself, nice to meet you, I'm Midoriya Izuku. He smiled kindly at both. Natsuo asked, are you the one who made the old man's cookies? He spoke with a smile. Fuyumi whispered, wait, Natsuo. Believing her brother was being too direct. Natsuo added, oh, come on, they're incredible. They look like second-hand toys. His sister looked at him more seriously. Of course, I mean that as a compliment. The freckled boy couldn't help but laugh, retaining his smile. Izuku assured, don't worry, I'm aware of the dislike for Endeavor. The girl appeared somewhat tense, while the other brother of the bicolor looked a bit nervous. Natsuo wondered, you haven't, but his brother tilted his head in confusion. Shoto asked, what do you mean? His sister decided to handle the matter. Fuyumi explained, our family is somewhat special, Shoto. We don't know if it's right for people to know about it, you know? The bicolor opened his eyes in surprise, then lowered his head. Izuku reassured, you did nothing wrong, Todoroki-san. The bicolor looked at the freckled boy, who had approached with menus for all three. You wanted words of encouragement in a tense moment, and I won't use that information for anything. He placed the menus in front of them and smiled. You did what was right for you, and that's enough. Fuyumi expressed her concerns, still, I wouldn't want people to start hating Dad. I know it's very justified, but I don't like seeing anyone suffer, especially our family, no matter how terrible our father is. Izuku asked, are you the one who maintains hope, right? The girl nodded. Endeavor is one thing in his work and another behind the scenes. Hate the father, not the hero. The brother lowered his gaze, somewhat annoyed by it. Fuyumi requested, I'd like, internally grateful that they weren't here for a bad time but to ease the tension of having her brother near death. A night coffee and a lemon pie, the boy nodded. Natsuo said, you know what to serve me. The green-haired boy laughed, this family was extremely interesting. Shoto ordered, give me the usual. The boy nodded. Izuku informed, I'll be right back. With a smile and a tray, he headed to the kitchen to prepare their orders. Shoto inquired, where is it? No matter how much he looked around, he couldn't find the cat. Fuyumi asked, what are you looking for, Shoto? The bicolor wasn't paying attention. Shoto replied, there. He didn't know if it was a good idea to pick it up like that, but he knew his siblings liked animals. Natsuo wondered, Shoto? His brother wasn't paying attention. Shoto said, look. He showed an adorable little kitten that was yawning from laziness. Fuyumi cooed, aw. In front of her two brothers, she cradled the kitten in her arms as if it were a human baby. How adorable with its mini hat and little tie. She petted the cat's head, and it started purring. Natsuo warned, hey, be careful, we don't know if it can be feisty. His sister ignored him to give the cat some love. Fuyumi asked, how can you say that about such an adorable creature? She showed the cat to her brother, who only did something. Meow, the kitten meowed before slipping out of the girl's hands and jumping to the most comfortable spot to sleep. Shoto explained, Mina did the same thing with him. The cat was on his sister's thighs, needing to sleep. Curious. He narrowed his eyes while looking at the cat. Fuyumi exclaimed, look, Natsuo, he likes me. She couldn't be happier about it. Natsuo replied, we get it. He tried to calm his sister's excitement. Izuku apologized, I'm sorry for the wait. With a smile and a tray, he arrived at their table. Oh, Cookie, there you are. The cat looked at its owner before continuing to need to sleep. Clever cat. Fuyumi asked, is this your cat? The green-haired boy nodded. Izuku explained, he's a cat who loves cuddles too much. The cat finished getting comfortable, curling up in the girl's legs. A sly cat. Fuyumi cooed, aw. She started petting the cat. Izuku informed, anyway, here are your orders, black coffee, lemon pie, Endeavor cookies, latte, and a kitty cupcake. Natsuo expressed his thanks, thank you very much, friend. Destroying our father is impossible, but destroying his cookies is quite therapeutic. Shoto expressed, thank you. He took a bite of the cupcake's ear, leaving his sister startled. Is something wrong, Fuyumi? Fuyumi replied, don't look, Gietta. She covered the cat's eyes, and it stayed still for a second before starting to lick the girl's palm. Hey! She withdrew her hand, letting the cat go back to sleep. You're a cat killer, Shoto. She accused her brother, who looked at the cupcake. Shoto defended himself, blame Midoriya for making such delicious treats. The freckled boy felt the angry look from the girl. Izuku reassured, I promise, Miss Todoroki, that no cats suffered in the making of this cupcake, and in fact. He tore off a piece of frosting from the cupcake and extended it to his cat. Shoto protested, hey! Izuku justified, you deserve it. Without further ado, he gave the sweet treat to his cat, who instantly started devouring it. It's entirely healthy for feline consumption. Fuyumi exclaimed, you're a cat cannibal. She looked amazed at the cat, which went back to sleep. Aw, I can't be mad at you. Meow, the cat continued with its afternoon nap. Natsuo pointed out, you're an exaggerating sister. His sister smiled sweetly. Fuyumi asked, did you say something, Natsuo? Her brother tensed. Natsuo replied, nothing at all. He continued eating cookies, causing laughter from the green-haired boy. Izuku wished, enjoy your stay. Without further ado, he went back to the kitchen to continue working. The Todoroki siblings stayed there for a while, laughing at silliness and acting like an ordinary family, away from the hero world and their fractured home. They were just close-knit siblings and a cat that wanted to steal the girl as a walking heater. When it was time to leave, the cat simply refused to leave her until its owner intervened. Natsuo commented, it was really good. In the end, he ate more than just cookies. To pay, use. Izuku said, I know, Shoto-san brings that card very often. Without further ado, he started the transaction. Fuyumi asked, can you and Shoto wait for me outside? Her brother nodded, dragging the younger bicolor with him. Izuku inquired, is there anything else you need, Fuyumi-san? The albino girl smiled. Fuyumi expressed her gratitude, thank you for entering Shoto's life. Since the accident happened, he wanted to distance himself from everything, and it didn't help that Dad was already trying to keep him away. I really thought I had lost him. She looked down with a touch of sadness. Izuku reassured her, it's impossible to lose him if you see each other every day, there would just be a very tall wall between you. The girl smiled with a touch of sadness. Fuyumi said, that doesn't matter now. Lately, Shoto only talks about the friends he has and how you helped him with his quirk. Thank you for helping him. The freckled boy simply shook his head. Izuku stated, your brother is a good person, I just helped him come out. The girl left, charmed by the peculiar boy she had met. This week felt very long, and I couldn't wait for Monday to have my employee back. Besides the extra help, I really missed my friends. I wanted to hear their internship stories and serve them a good cup of coffee to ease their worries. I wished for it more than anything at that moment. I just had to wait until Monday, and everything would return to normal. Kyoka, Izuku. Izuku, Kyoka-san. Kyoka ran to Izuku as her friend hugged her tightly. Kyoka, I'm glad to see you. Izuku, we have so much to talk about. Kyoka, I think you're exaggerating a bit. It wasn't as amazing as you think. Besides, I still need to greet someone. She smiled at the cat by the door. Kyoka, hello, Gietta. But Gietta didn't respond as expected. Izuku, oh yes, he's upset because you were gone for so long. Kyoka, I'm sorry, Gietta. It wasn't my intention. Blame Aizawa-sensei and Yue for separating us. Don't laugh and help me, I don't want to lose the cat. Izuku, you're overreacting, Kyoka-san. Izuku picked up the cat and put it on Kyoka's head. Kyoka, you're a grumpy cat, you know? Gietta couldn't settle on her head, so it decided to perch on her shoulder. It started licking her cheek, causing laughter from Kyoka. Kyoka, hey! Ha ha ha! You're such a drama queen, you know? Izuku, PFFF. Kyoka turned to see her friend taking a quick picture. Izuku, how adorable. Kyoka blushed. Kyoka, delete it. But Izuku refused. Izuku, no, you look super cute, and now it's my wallpaper. Kyoka, please don't show this to anyone. Izuku, you'll have to visit Gietta every day if you don't want this to go public. Kyoka sighed. Kyoka, you win. Izuku, anyway, we have a lot to talk about in little time. Let's go. They ended up having a hamburger in the park. They enjoyed talking about Kyoka's internship and her involvement in a hostage case. Izuku showered her with compliments, making Kyoka feel proud despite not considering it a big achievement. Unfortunately, good times have to end, and their meeting concluded at the station, with both heading home. Tomorrow, Kyoka hoped to hear news from Ochako. The next morning, Ochako appeared early, looking tired and demoralized. Izuku served her coffee and a couple of cookies, hoping she would open up. Izuku, what happened? Kendo, the internships didn't go as I thought. No patrol, no learning, just standing in front of a camera and smiling. It didn't turn out the way I expected. Izuku, I'm sorry to hear that. It might not have worked out this time, but the next one will. Everyone has their moment to shine, you just have to wait for yours, Kendo-san. Kendo, I wish it were sooner rather than later. Izuku, I'm sure it will come. You're wonderful and intelligent, a natural leader, and, above all, a good person who will surely be a great hero. I have faith in your moment coming. Kendo, thank you, Midoriya-san. They exchanged a hug, and Izuku tried to comfort her. Kendo, it won't change. Later, Izuku didn't receive more news in the morning, just a message from Ochako saying she'd come in the afternoon and one from Kyoka requesting a dessert. Another gathering of Class 1A classmates seemed to be on the horizon. Just thinking about it cheered him up, despite the minor setback in hope when he encouraged Kendo. He worked until the afternoon. Ochako, Midoriya-san. Ochako arrived, and Izuku was already busy. Izuku, hello, Uraka-san. I'm sorry, but I'm a bit busy right now. Can you help me? The Classic 1A group finally gathered to chat after a somewhat busy day back at school. The most memorable part of the day was undoubtedly seeing Bakugo with a more formal hairstyle than they could believe, which caused a lot of laughter among them. Now they could relax after a long day with good coffee and an incredibly adorable cat that was blatantly ignoring the girls' affection and preferred to stay away from them. Kaminari, well, that's odd. The cat was comfortably sleeping on Kyoka's lap, and her two friends looked at it with obvious jealousy. Izuku, Gyeta felt betrayed when his sources of petting were gone for so long, and now he's mad at them. Both the raven-haired and the pink-haired girls felt quite sad. Momo, forgive us, Gyeta, we were very busy. The cat ignored her and continued sleeping. Mina, it's not fair, Kyoka-chan was also absent the whole week. She accused the cat, which only rubbed against the abdomen of the girl with pink hair. Kyoka, I came on Sunday to apologize to this little drama queen. She petted the cat, which began to purr. Mina, that's unfair. She pouted angrily. Izuku, just wait, and he'll come to you. For now, enjoy your food. He placed their orders in front of everyone, and the girls ate, albeit reluctantly. Sero, you're really upset about this, aren't you? He murmured to the blonde next to him, who nodded. Kyoka, come on, Gyeta. They didn't do it on purpose. She lifted the cat, which did something unexpected. Meow. It licked the pink-haired girl's nose, making her burst into laughter. Kyoka, you're silly. She left the cat in the brunette girl's lap, who looked excited. Momo, thank you, Kyoka-san. She began to pet the cat, which allowed it for the moment. Izuku, a tsundere cat. He grumbled in annoyance. Ochako, Midoriya-san, an order of wings for table 4. She passed the order to her boss, who nodded and went to the kitchen. Kaminari, you guys really take this seriously, huh? The place was full, and their friend's brunette was swamped with orders. Tokoyami, you have a good menu, a nice atmosphere, and your location near UA. It's clear your success was guaranteed, especially with that customer magnet. He glanced at the cat, who had now moved to Mina, who was happily petting it. Sero, it makes sense. He stopped thinking about it and continued sipping his coffee. Kyoka, oh, right. She smiled and took out her phone. Kyoka, Izuku, can you come for a moment? The freckled boy finished delivering a tray to the brunette and looked at the pink-haired girl. Izuku, look what showed up today. She showed a photo that he would surely love. Izuku, cock. He suppressed his laughter. Izuku, you have to send me that. The pink-haired girl nodded. The afternoon continued, and slowly the hours changed. The cafe was gradually emptying as time passed. Sero was the first to leave the UA group, followed by Kaminari, Momo, and Tokoyami. Only Kyoka and Mina remained, one for the simple pleasure of the company and the other because she didn't want to go home yet. She enjoyed the cafe atmosphere and wasn't in a hurry to leave. Kyoka, well, I'm next to leave. It was very enjoyable, but my mom will kill me if I stay here any longer without being an employee. She got up from her chair to leave. Izuku, she's still on that? The pink-haired girl nodded. Kyoka, she thinks you're a good influence on me and finds it very unfair that I'm just here existing and spending money. Izuku chuckled. Izuku, we still have uniforms if you're interested. The girl shook her head. Kyoka, not yet, Izuku. I know I sound quite lazy, but I prefer not to work for the time being. Izuku, the lazy Kyoka strikes again. He teased his friend, who looked at him with some uncertainty. Kyoka, I prefer it when you call me Garfield. It sounds much better than lazy. Izuku, but I'm right. The girl sighed and went home. Mina, now I understand why Ochako-chan says you two look like a couple. She commented to the freckled boy, who laughed. Izuku, we like to joke around, that's all. He looked at the pink-haired girl who was petting the cat. Izuku, do you want anything else? Mina, do you have a uniform for me? She asked with a bit of embarrassment. Izuku, do you want to work here? He spoke in surprise, and she nodded shyly. Mina, my parents want me to be more money conscious. You know, to avoid becoming a shopaholic once I earn money as a hero. But the job offers I've been given aren't for me, and honestly, I'm too dumb for any of them. She smiled at the boy, who still looked surprised. Izuku, don't underestimate yourself, Mina-san. You're amazing and quite intelligent. Not all intelligence is about math or science, there are other types of intelligence in which you're surely good. On the other hand, we've been making a lot more money since Uraka-san joined the cafe. Her help is greatly appreciated, and if I do the math, I can pay you the same as her when she started. Mina/Ochako, really? Both of them said, surprising the boy. Ochako, have we earned that much? The boy smiled tensely. Izuku, more like I finally paid off the debts for things, and with that loss settled, the profits have increased. With so many customers, I even considered hiring someone else. You fit perfectly, Mina-san. Mina, then? The boy nodded. Mina, yay. She lifted the cat, who was somewhat sleepy. Mina, when do I start? Izuku, stay until we close, and we'll begin your training. The girl happily agreed. Ochako, good for you, Mina. She was happy for her friend, who was overjoyed. Izuku, let's get to work, Uraka-san. He dragged the girl back to work. The pink-haired girl spent the whole afternoon with the cat, patiently waiting for closing time. She realized something, though. Izuku only played children's programs on the TV, and if they weren't watching those, it was anime. She learned something about him that apparently no one else noticed. Izuku, and done. His last customer finally left, and he could call it a day. Ochako, what a day. She collapsed onto a couch near the window, completely exhausted. Izuku, we got more customers now that we can serve much faster. Fortunately, I ordered a lot of food for these days. Ochako, it'll be much easier once Mina is here. Both of them looked at the pink-haired girl who was with the cat. Mina, I hope to be of help to you. She smiled at her new boss. Izuku, you'll serve just like Uraka-san. I hope you don't mind getting a little dirty, as I'll also have you help with cleaning. The girl shook her head. Mina, I'll be happy to help with anything I can. She bowed to the freckled boy, who felt a little less tension in his small business. Ochako, that's great, Mina. She was happy for her friend, who couldn't contain her excitement. Izuku, let's get to work, Uraka-san. He dragged the girl back to work. That night when Mina joined the cafe was really surprising. She taught basic things to the girl with red hair, who seemed to be doing well in practice. That was more than enough, she could trust that there wouldn't be any disasters caused by her. They left later than usual, but at least they went home happy. The next day, Mina woke up excited. It was her first day of work after finishing her training, but her parents didn't understand why she was so thrilled. They thought it was good that their daughter was starting to make money, but they didn't see much excitement in being a waitress in a cafe. Honestly, they had expected something else from her. She arrived with more enthusiasm than many could believe this day. In truth, all her friends were surprised to see the girl with red hair so lively on an ordinary study day. Momo, why are you so happy? They could talk more calmly during their break. Kyoka, guess who hired her to be their other waitress? The dark-haired girl looked surprised. Momo, you'll be working at the cafe? The red-haired girl nodded eagerly. Mina, yesterday, they told me I could, and today is my first day. I'm so excited. She couldn't contain her excitement. Tsuyu, working at Karo's place? She spoke while eating her gelatin. Mina, oh, right. Tsuyu-chan, Toru-chan, and Ibara-chan haven't gone. She had forgotten in all her excitement. Kyoka, it's a cafe near UA, and the owner is our friend. Do you want to go after we finish today? The green-haired girls looked at each other, and the invisible one was delighted. Toru, of course, I'll go. You all talk about that place so much, and I really want to go. She spoke excitedly. Ibara, I'm in. I don't have much to do today. She smiled kindly at the girl with purple hair. Oh Chako, and you, Su-chan? The frog thought about it. Tsuyu, my mom is home today, so I don't have to take care of my brothers. I don't see why not, Karo. This made the girls happy. Mina, it's settled. We're going to the cafe after classes, she declared with a smile. Kyoka, believe me, you'll want to go back, either for the food or for Galleta, either of the two. The three girls looked confused. Ibara, who is Galleta? Her friend smiled mysteriously. Kyoka, you'll find out when you get there. This left them even more puzzled. They continued with their classes, some still confused about the person the green-haired girl referred to. They didn't receive many details, only that this person was so charming that they would end up liking them. Ibara, however, felt tense, overthinking about what kind of people her friends were with when she wasn't around. With the final school bell of the day, the group of girls headed to their little gathering. Ibara was extremely nervous about the misconceptions she had about the person her friends had been talking about, while Toru and Tsuyu could only hope that the person was quite pleasant and had excellent taste. None of them noticed when both Ochako and Mina ran off to that place. Tsuyu, where is it? She asked the red-haired girl who was leading them downhill. Kyoka, right here. She pointed to the sign of a mouse with a mask that seemed to convince them. Ibara, it looks like a nice place. There was nothing to suggest what she was thinking. Momo, you'll love the delicious treats here. Just wait until you taste them. She opened the door for her friends to enter. Kyoka, the milkshakes are also extremely delicious. She looked inside and spotted the green-haired girl and the girl with orange hair. Kendo? She became a bit worried about her, so she approached her. Izuku, oh, Kyoka-san, you arrived at the right time. He smiled at the girl and then looked at the orange-haired girl. Kendo-san. The girl looked at him, appearing exhausted. Kendo, huh? She looked to the side and found the green-haired girl. Kyoka-san. She weakly smiled at the girl before hugging her. Kyoka, what happened? Are you okay? She didn't know what to do in this situation. Momo, Kendo-san. She also approached. Midoriya-san, what happened? Izuku, well. It's been a tough day for her. It was all he could say. I'm sorry to impose, but could you spend time with her? Both girls nodded. Kyoka, come on, let's join the others. They took the orange-haired girl with them to a table near the window. Toru, what happened, girls? She was concerned about her friends bringing the orange-haired girl from the other class. Tsuyu, she's from Class B, right? Her green-haired friend nodded. Kyoka, it seems like she had a tough day. But don't worry, Kendo-san, you're in the best place to cheer up. She sat the girl down, who was still petting the cat. Momo, what happened, Kendo-san? The orange-haired girl sighed to calm herself. Kendo, to sum up the day, Monoma being Monoma, trying to annoy us in some way. The truth is, I haven't been sleeping well these days, and I'm still a bit tense from what happened last week. She explained to her friend. Ibara, the internships? The orange-haired girl nodded. Who were you with? Kendo, Uwabami. She regretted it a lot. Toru, the heroine with snake-like hair? The orange-haired girl nodded. She's a very good model. Kendo, and unfortunately, she forced me to be one. It wasn't what I wanted. She explained further. Tsuyu, what bad luck, Karo. Her green friend couldn't agree more. Kyoka, I found him. She came back with a big smile on her face. Toru, Jiro-chan, I don't want to sound silly, but... Tsuyu, where's the person? The green-haired girl chuckled. Kyoka, I didn't mean a person. She pulled out a kitten with a little hat and tie and placed it on the orange-haired girl's lap. Here's your therapist. Kendo, thank you, Kyoka-san. She weakly smiled while petting the cat. Toru, oh my goodness. She was overwhelmed by the cuteness. It's so adorable. She immediately took out her phone to take as many pictures as she could. Tsuyu, it's cute, Karo. She looked at the kitten, which met her gaze. Meow. It let out an adorable meow. Momo, we told you Gietta was adorable. Ibara, wait, were you referring to the cat? She spoke, surprised, and her friends exchanged smiles. Kyoka, who else could we be referring to? The plant-based girl was taken aback. Ibara, you always talk about someone who's incredibly cheerful and helpful, and then you mentioned Gietta, so I thought. Her friends looked at each other before smiling. Momo, I think you're talking about Midoriya-san. He's the guy over there. She discreetly pointed to the freckled boy who was busy serving customers. Gietta is this adorable little cat that helps him with customers. Ibara, oh, how embarrassing, she murmured, burying her face in her hands as if she could disappear. Mina, girls. The red-haired girl arrived, wearing a short-sleeved blue shirt with a green stripe and a cap with the cafe's logo. Kyoka, oh, it suits you. She sat next to the orange-haired girl who was still pampering the cat. Mina, thanks. She did a little twirl before getting into her role as an employee. What do you want to eat? The girls' afternoon was extremely pleasant, filled with laughter and plans for the future. They had a great time with Gietta, who surprisingly didn't end up liking Ibara's hair, and she felt quite bad about it. Her vines weren't comfortable for the kitten's fur, so she didn't pet it much. Another thing Gietta didn't like was the invisible girl. Seeing clothes moving made him tense and nervous, so he stayed away from Toru the whole afternoon, to his dismay. Mina, what a day, she sighed, leaning back in a chair. Are all days this long? The cat took the opportunity to climb onto her lap and take a nap while they were going home. Oh Chaco, you have no idea. There are times when people are waiting outside, and just thinking about it makes me shiver. Izuku, fortunately, that will be reduced with you here, so don't get tense, Mina-san. You did really well. He finished doing inventory and walked over to his employees. Well done, both of you. Mina, I hope tomorrow is quieter, she murmured to herself while petting the cat. Izuku, I'm with you, he said tiredly. Oh Chaco, cheer up, Midoriya-san. She tried to lift everyone's spirits but didn't succeed. Izuku, anyway, it's time to go. With everything ready, they could leave. Mina, I can't wait to get home and show off to my dad. Just thinking about it cheered her up. With that, the day concluded. It was a good day where they earned a lot. Things were going well for Izuku, and he was spending his days happier, despite the constant fear that something bad might happen. He couldn't help it, it was something inside him that kept telling him that, an impending catastrophe or something. He couldn't help but convince himself that the idea was wrong so he could continue with his life. The next day started as usual, with the cafe opening in the morning, serving the early birds before Kyoka invaded the cafe, ordered something to wake her up, and then went to school after giving plenty of affection to Gietta. Then Kendo arrived, ordered a coffee, chatted a bit with Izuku, and went to classes. Izuku left the cartoons on the television for a while before starting the real day at 9 in the morning when various customers arrived for work. Occasionally, Aizawa and Midnight came to order something to drink to start their day, but those days were rare. Izuku thought it was because they had little time, being both teachers and heroes. It couldn't be easy for them. Oh Chaco, Midoriya-san. In the afternoon, the tired but always cheerful brown-haired girl appeared. Sorry for making you wait. The freckled boy looked at her strangely. Izuku, you arrived 2 minutes early. The girl froze. Oh Chaco, wow. I think my watch is fast. I could have sworn it was later than I thought. Mina, oh Chaco-chan, you should have waited for me. Behind her, the red-haired girl arrived, breathing heavily. We were supposed to leave together, she scolded her friend. Oh Chaco, I thought we were running late, Mina-san. I'm sorry. She smiled at her friend, who just shook her head. Mina, well, let's go. We have a lot to do. Dragging her friend, they went to the employee restroom to change. Kyoka, hey, wait. The green-haired girl entered behind them, also out of breath. Darn it, I lost them this time. Without further ado, she walked to her self-proclaimed seat in the car and lay down. Izuku, tough day? The girl nodded. Kyoka, the days when we train are the toughest, and I'm not talking about the things Aizawa-sensei or All Might makes us do. It's more about our classmates, especially that obnoxious dog and the perverted flea. They are the most annoying. If one isn't yelling about every little thing, the other is trying to hang out with Momo at all costs. Izuku, that sounds like quite a problem. He didn't want to say it because he didn't know the second person, but if they were indeed so annoying. Kyoka, you're right. I'm used to being the one who talks to them, but it's frustrating. I don't know how you deal with the cafe's customers. Kyoka, well, I do have a way to deal with perverts, she said confidently. Kyoka, loud and clear, Captain. She smiled at the boy, who went back to work. The first 2 hours passed without any particular event. Everything was quite calm and normal, with customers coming and going, classmates gathering, and even a couple or two enjoying a nice date. That is until he showed up. For anyone else, he would be just another customer, a guy with messy black hair and a smug smile, and a voluptuous girl with curly red hair. A pretty standard couple for anyone else, but not for Izuku. He recognized the guy and honestly didn't want to see him at all. He was one of Bakugo's lackeys who used to bother him a lot, and he really didn't like the guy. Hey, girl, a table, he demanded in the rudest way possible to Mina, who looked tense. Mina, I'm sorry, but right now, all the tables are occupied, so would you please wait until one becomes available? She tried to speak as politely as possible, but from afar, it was clear that this was not the answer the guy wanted to hear. Do you even know who you're talking to? Give me a table for me and my girl, he spoke as if he were the boss of the place. Come on, we can wait until a table opens up, the girl seemed calmer at least. TSK. If he wanted to impress his date, he needed to act calmer than he was. Make it quick, kick someone out or something, he ordered Mina, who was slowly being pushed to her limit. Mina, who do you think you are to talk to me like this? She spoke irritably. Who am I? I'm the best friend of the future symbol of peace, and you guys are beneath me, so hurry up or leave, he ordered the red-haired girl, who was about to explode. Mina, you. Someone put their hand on her shoulder, and when she looked, it was her boss. What's going on? She asked, looking better and seeing that her two friends were also tense. Izuku, let me handle the difficult customers, okay? His friendly smile reassured everyone. Mina, all right. From the angle the boy was standing, she couldn't tell who he was. Izuku, apologize to my employee. She's new and hasn't dealt with people of your kind. The guy looked upset. I told you to hurry up or leave. The girl at least seemed calmer. Izuku, do you know what? You're really an idiot, he said, sighing. Now I realize how stupid I was to be afraid of you and Bakugo's idiotic followers. You're so pathetic. The guy looked angry. Looks like someone needs a reminder of their place. He spoke angrily, extending his fingers. Kyoka, hey. She was about to intervene when her friend stopped her. Izuku, go ahead, try it. The guy confidently threw a punch at the freckled boy, exactly as his former leader used to start the fight. Of course, the green-haired boy easily dodged it. What the? The freckled boy took the guy's arm, kneed him in the stomach, and followed with a punch to his face, then a lock on his arm, causing pressure on it. Izuku, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't want you in my cafe. With that, he swept the guy's legs out from under him and, with the weight of his body, tossed him into the street. And don't come back. He dusted off his hands, amidst the applause of the onlookers. The girl who came with the idiot apologized more times than necessary to the green-haired boy. She only went on that date because of a bet with her friend. If she had a bad date with the idiot, she would win a good amount of money. So, things turned out great for Izuku, or at least that was the case until he turned to look at his friends, who seemed quite tense. Izuku, is something wrong? The girl with purple hair was the first to speak. Kyoka, that's what we should be asking. It's clear that you knew the idiot, and by how he reacted and treated you, it's clear that you didn't stand up for yourself before. She became more serious. What happened, and you won't convince us with pretty words and a nice meal like you always do to avoid the topic. The green-haired boy smiled nervously. Izuku, that's in the past. It's nothing you need to worry about. There he went again, not wanting to say anything. Oh Chako, Mr. Midoriya, I understand that you don't want to talk about it because it's a difficult time, but we're your friends, and we're here to help you, just as you always help us. She approached the boy with a determined look. Mina, what really happened between you and that guy? And why did he call you Deku? The green-haired boy felt too tense about it. Kyoka, we're not leaving until you talk. She crossed her arms and looked at the boy very seriously. Mina, and we won't let you work until you tell us. She supported her friend, so the green-haired boy sighed. Izuku, it's not the right time for that story. Now we need to work. But if you want to hear it so badly. He no longer had a problem with telling it, honestly, He hadn't told it because he knew what Kyoko would do if she found out. Bakugo would probably end up in the hospital for the weekend. "Oh Chako, will you tell us?" The green-haired boy nodded calmly. "Izuku, but it's not the right time. It will be after the workday ends." That cheered them up, so against their plans and to help with the flow of customers, the girl with purple hair went into the kitchen. "Kyoka-san?" "Kyoka, I know there are many customers, and if that's the case." She came out with a staff cap and a bright smile. "For today, I'll help you at the register." The freckled boy blinked in surprise. "What's wrong?" "Izuku, you look really good in that uniform." The girl blushed a bit, while her friends looked at her teasingly. "Kyoka, you can flatter me later, it's time to work," she said, somewhat embarrassed. "Oh Chako, do you think?" she muttered to her friend, who nodded. "Mina, and I don't blame you, Midori-kun," she muttered back. "Kyoka, too much talk and not enough action." She pointed with her earlobes to her friends who were tense. "You forget about my quirk way too often." "Oh Chako, sorry, Kyoka-san." Without further ado, both returned to work, ignoring the slightly blushing girl they left behind. It was a rather slow day, or at least that's how it seemed to the girls. Every hour felt like days they had spent there. The need to clarify the matter with that guy was eating at them from the inside. They knew that Izuku was hiding things, and they didn't really have a problem with that. Everyone has secrets, but when those secrets start to affect your life, maybe you can consider seeking the necessary help. Still, they managed to endure the necessary time to hear the story. It was a little past 6 in the evening when the green-haired boy simply closed the cafe. He began cleaning while his employees rested, and then he would go home, unless he needed to do inventory. However, the girls didn't let him do anything else. After closing, they forced him to sit in front of them, looking quite serious. "Izuku, I think you're making a big deal out of this, seriously." The girls didn't back down. "Kyoka, just talk, Izuku," she said with her arms crossed. "Izuku, all right." The girls moved closer to the freckled boy, so they wouldn't miss any details. "Before I start the story, I have to say, don't get angry at anything. I've already solved everything, and I'm completely fine, okay?" The girls nodded, even though he didn't think they'd listen. "Okay. This all started when I was 4 years old. As you know, it's normal to manifest a quirk at that age, but it didn't happen to me. Even if I tried to breathe fire or attract objects, I never showed any signs of having a quirk. And I, being the naive kid I was, thought things would be fine back then." "Oh Chako, but..." The boy smiled bitterly. "Izuku, I told my best friend at the time, Bakugo Katsuki, and of course, he made fun of me, as did the other kids. It didn't bother me at the time, I was just the weak link in the group. But then, on a little field trip to the forest, I helped Bakugo, and from then on, I don't understand why he started to bully me. And not just a little, I became the punching bag for all the attacks he would use against villains in the future." He explained it as if it were nothing. "Kyoka, so that's why you know so much about his techniques." His friend nodded. "Izuku, I endured most of them in person. The next few years were a living hell. Every day, I was the target of all the kids. It really got to me, and by the time I entered middle school, I became quite timid and weak." He clenched his fist quite hard. "It felt like everything was on top of me. All the kids around me conspired to destroy any good feelings I had about myself. They threw me into the deepest abyss without looking back." He sighed to calm himself down. "Still, I had the vague hope of pursuing my dream of becoming a hero." He smiled, surprising the girls. "It was a stupid idea, considering I was quirkless, and they made sure to remind me of that." "Mina, but didn't your teachers do anything? Or your parents?" This really bothered her, she couldn't stand bullies. "Izuku, when I was a kid, the teachers just thought it was child's play. They never saw Bakugo hurting me at school, and when I got to middle school, well, Bakugo was getting all the applause. There were only a few teachers who tried to rein him in." "Kyoka, I don't understand why everyone praises that explosive idiot. He's literally garbage for hero work." The freckled boy looked at her in surprise. "Trust me, he's doing poorly because he doesn't know how to work as a team. And if it weren't for Kirishima, he'd probably have lost by now. Mina, and even with that help, he's still losing." She was fortunate to have Bakugo's friend as her friend. "Izuku, the thing is, Bakugo is good at regular classes, he's almost a prodigy. He has a great quirk and a natural sense of leadership. They made sure to boost his ego, along with his lackeys. In fact, you met one of them today." The girls looked at each other, shocked. Kyoka, that jerk? The green-haired boy nodded. Izuku, that's right, and it's pretty clear that without Bakugo, they're just fools with delusions of grandeur. He said calmly. Now you know what happened. Oh Chako, but are you okay? You said they demeaned you a lot. The freckled boy nodded. Izuku, maybe Bakugo is the worst person I've ever met, but his parents have always been good to me. Bakugo's dad helped me a lot in a certain situation. He took me to a psychologist and to the gym, and I gained confidence while reducing my anxiety and depression. I'm really fine now. He smiled at the girls, who were somewhat tense. Mina, thank goodness. Without stopping, she squeezed the boy's head in a hug. When I see Bakugo, he'll see. Oh Chako, Mina-san. She said, blushing. Kyoka-san, you beat us to it. She muttered to the blushing girl.